Hi, it's Chef Thad again at Michelle's. We've filleted the walleye that Scott has provided for me. I've got one fillet here and the cheeks from that, the larger of the two walleye I cleaned today. I'm going to be showing you how to do what we call a poor man's lobster. This is a dish you can do over an open fire, you can do it over a propane cooker, or you can do it on a stovetop. We've done it for years on our fishing trips to Canada. It's a good dish to serve maybe day 3 when you've had enough of the traditional fried fish. It's lighter, it's healthier, and it's very simple to do. We're going to grab a stock pot, something this size. We're only making a small batch today. The more people, the more fish, therefore the bigger the pot to use. Everything's going to be cooked in this pot. I'm going to put 4 cups of water into the pot. I'm going to take chicken base. Chicken base is basically chicken fat with chicken bouillon. I'd imagine you could use bouillon cubes or George Washington bouillon powder, or just buy chicken base at the grocery store. We're going to put in a significant amount. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of the chicken base. We're also going to be using a spice called Old Bay seasoning. The name tells a little bit about one of the main ingredients in it, and that's bay leaves, of which we're going to add additional bay leaves, 3. And the Old Bay seasoning has things like paprika, garlic, onion powder, things of that nature, and dried up and crushed bay leaves. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of the Old Bay seasoning. So you can see we have a lot of salt, right? We put only 2 cups of water and quite a bit of salt coming from the chicken bouillon and the Old Bay seasoning. We're also going to add some lemons to the water, whole quartered up lemons. I'll add maybe 4 of them for this small of water. And we're going to get this water on the stove top. Now we're going to take our water and put it on the stove top. Once again, the water has our Old Bay seasoning, it has lemons, it has bay leaves, it has chicken base and water. We're going to let that come to a boil, and when it comes to a boil, we're going to add some other ingredients to it. We're going to add a carrot. Once again, depending on how much you have in fish and how many people you need to feed, that's what you base the amount of vegetables that you're going to use on. In this case, since we have 1 fillet we're cooking, I'm going to take 2 carrots and chop them up. And I like to put them in a bite-sized size that maybe you would find in stew. I'm going to take these carrots, since that's this vegetable, along with our red potato, are going to take the longest to cook in the water. They're going to be the first to go in. So I'm going to take the carrots and I'm going to put them in the boiling water. The other ingredient we're going to use is a red potato. A new potato can be an A or a B size, it doesn't matter. I take just a little bit of the skin off. I peel a collar off the side like that. Then I'm going to increase the efficiency of its cooking, I'm going to cut it into quarters. And I'm going to take the potatoes. I would say, general rule, 1 potato per person. If you want more than that, you certainly can do it. Okay. Our last vegetable that we're going to use, Scott, is going to be an onion. I like to eat the onion from the fish boil. Some people might use it just for flavor. If you used it just for flavor, you would not have to skin it. Some of the best flavors of an onion come from the root ends and the skin that's on it. Matter of fact, that's how we make many of our stocks, with whole onions and things like that, unpeeled. I have peeled it because I know we're going to eat it. I'm going to quarter this as well. Our water has been boiling and our potatoes have been cooking for some 5 to 8 minutes at a brisk boil. Now it's about time to add the onion. Hello everyone, I have my sidekick here, Cade Stankowski. He was one of my favorite young chefs. He's got a good smile and a good heart. We're going to have him chunk up the walleye for our fish boil. So Cade's going to come over here. He's got clean hands. He's going to use that smaller fillet knife. And we're going to take this walleye fillet that we had prepped earlier. We're going to cut it into chunks that are maybe this long. So Kate, drive your knife right through there. Okay. What I'd like to see you do when you're using a knife with your opposite hand, I would like to see you turn your fingers like that when you grab something, so that you're less apt to cut your other hand. So when you grab it, bend your knuckles like that, and then push that knife straight down through like that. So cut it up into chunks that are maybe 1 or 2 inches wide. Okay. That's great. Keep going, that's perfect. And you can use those as 2 separate chunks. Just go 1, 2, 3. So they'll be like chunks of lobster meat, thus the name, the poor man's lobster. Okay? Keep going, you're doing really well, Cade. And see, that way if the knife slips, you're less apt to slice through your fingertip. see our water is coming back to a boil now. Our vegetables have all been cooked. Our carrots are soft. We can drive a spoon through them. Our potatoes are soft, yet a little firm, so they'll hold their shape. Those are all cooked through. We're going to get this, when that happens, the water is going to come to another boil. And when it does, we're going to be putting in these fish fillets. You can see it's starting to turn now, so I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chunked up fish that Chef Cade did with me, including the 2 cheeks. We're going to put them right into the boiling water. When this water comes to another boil, we will turn the heat off and cover the pan and let it rest for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And the fish is done. It only takes minutes for this fish to cook. You're poaching it in this wonderful stock. We'll come back to this in just a minute. What we've done now, one of the condiments that I like to put on top of poor man's lobster is garlic butter. I melted a 1/4 stick of whole butter. I'm going to put in some fresh minced garlic, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. And we're just going to let that simmer without burning the garlic. You never want to heat garlic up to the point where it turns brown on you. It changes its flavor completely. We just want it to melt into the butter and kind of spread its flavors out through that. Our water here next to the garlic butter is now coming to a brisker boil. That's good. I have a feeling we'll be ready to serve this dish in just a couple of minutes. We'll be removing the fish and vegetables from the stock, drizzling the garlic butter over the top, and presenting it to our friends and family. Show them how wonderful we can cook that Wisconsin lobster called a walleye. As you can see, we've come to a brisk boil. I'm going to shut down the heat all the way off. I'm going to cover and let it steep for just a few minutes. We're going to take, what I recommend doing is draining this into a colander. You also could scoop things out with a slotted spoon, but I think it presents better if we just pour it all off slowly into a colander. We're going to reserve some of the broth. So what I'll do is I'll have my, whatever I'm going to serve it in, I'll take some of the broth. It has such wonderful flavor. And actually in the bush when we're fishing as a group, sometimes we'll save all the broth and we'll make soup out of it the next day. We'll take some egg noodles, but we're not doing that today. So I have a little bit of broth. I'm going to pour off the rest of the product, all cooked off. Now I'm going to take this product, and now that it's drained a little bit, we got fish in there, maybe there's some things that we don't want. Maybe we don't want the bay leaves. I personally think they offer wonderful color. You can see we have the potatoes, the onions, the walleye, just wonderful, beautiful flaked fish. I mean, you just can't beat it. There's nothing like it in the world. Just so we can show off our chefing, we're going to put a bay leaf in it like that. Then we're going to take this dish. We're going to take our garlic butter that we have on the stovetop. We're going to drizzle a little bit of the garlic butter right over the pan, like so. And bon appetit. Well, here we are. We've cleaned, we've cooked, and now it's time to do what, Cade?
Eat.
Time to eat. The first dish that we will have served to us is our poor man's lobster. Cade has already put his napkin on his lap. My goodness, a young man. Hey, wait a minute. Cade's going to eat right out of the dish, I guess. How about a fork instead of a spoon? Take a bite of the walleye and tell me what you think of that, young man.
The walleye is great. It has so much flavor added to it.
Perfect. So, don't have to have fried fish to enjoy it? Is that what you're going to tell everybody?
No.
That's perfect. How about one of the carrots? Let's try one of those. What are carrots good for?
Eyes.
Yep. And what kind of fish are we eating? Walleyes. How perfect is that? It's all meant to be. So how's a carrot? Hot. Hot.
It's good, really juicy and soft.
That's wonderful. Potatoes, I'm sure, are going to be the same way. Okay. I'm going to try a little bit too. Man, oh man. Honestly, I think the fish boil with walleye is something that people take for granted. They usually use a different fish. They'll use a northern or a chunked up white fish, as we find in Door County. That walleye has just incredible. It has enough oil to make it moist and flaky. It holds the flavors. Is not tough at all, right? It melts in your mouth. You hardly have to bite it to die for. I told you about the onions. Onions are good eating as well. And then in here are baby red potatoes, which are quartered up. All of them, tremendous flavor. from the garlic butter, from the stock we made. Thumbs up. This is a great meal. Thanks for the fish, Scott. Thanks, Kate, for all the help.